those who don't know King Aranda, this is a song that talks about how that sometimes in life you really hit a low point, and but out of the blue, the next day comes, and you keep living on, and it's not permanent. Things change. And in today's episode, I just wanted to start with this song because I'm going to be talking about how to create an emergency fund, and this can literally be a lifesaver. In my past videos, I have mentioned about emergency fund and why they are important, and a few of you have also asked me to talk about how to create one, so that's what we are going to do. But before we do that, let me actually say what this video is not about. This video is not going to be telling you, oh, it's so nice to save money, or you should make sure that kwiziri kumukanda, you just cut costs. It's actually going to be a guide, like a step-by-step guide that allows you to get on your journey to start for your emergency fund. So we are really going to be hands-on and see how this looks like in real life. So Murahoneza, that's how we say hello where I'm from, and I'm Denyse. Welcome to Nice Life 101, where we talk about all things personal finances, minimalism, and travel. In this episode, I'm going to give you an easy, simple step-by-step guide on how you can start creating your emergency fund and actually sustain it, because this is a type of savings account, and I have a few of my friends who have joked that sometimes they do a savings account, they transfer money to their savings, but like 3 days later the money saves them because you just drop it. Things arise, and sometimes when you really hit a low point in life, bad things happen to good people, and it's better to actually be prepared for them happening instead of just hoping that they don't happen. And this is what an emergency fund can actually help you with. If you are not new to this platform, you definitely know that this platform is all about not gatekeeping any of the things that are working. We don't keep any secrets. Anything that's working, I really that has worked for me or for the people I know, I really am passionate about sharing that with you, because it's about us really making steps towards living our best lives together. Emphasis, bold, on together. And if you are new here, please don't subscribe yet. Give us a few seconds or minutes. Watch this video a bit, and if you realize that this is the kind of content that would add value to your life, then you know what to do. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button down below, and we will be happy to have you in our big family. Let's dive right in. This video is about how to create an emergency fund, but why should anybody care? Like, why should you care? Why is it important? I'm not going to dwell on this because we need to get to the meaty bit of the content and be hands-on on how to actually create one. But it's important to say why. The first reason is because it gives you financial security. It's like a financial cushion that allows you to feel safe in times of financial distress, because we know nobody plans to lose a job. Nobody plans to be in a car accident. Nobody says, oh, my motor or my car is going to break down. But it happens. These things happen. But really having this emergency fund allows you to not be in a panic mode. And reason number 2 is because it really alleviates the anxiety and panic that comes when these big unplanned emergencies arise. And especially if you are in a couple or you are married, we all definitely know of couples who have really hit a rough patch because of financial distress, because their family hits a low point financially, and they are unable to cope with the financial or even mental strain that comes from it. So having an emergency fund, personally, as a single person, as a married person, whoever you are, is pretty helpful to really protect your psyche, your mental health. It's very important because it allows you not to panic. But let's, that's it. That's all with the why. Let's actually now get to the actual material. First step is to set a goal. You need to know how much money is your emergency fund, because I know people who usually say it's between 3 and 6 months. You need to, if you know your budget, if you don't know your budget, you first need to know how much money you spend on a monthly basis on basic needs. And once you know this, you need to aspire. Like your goal needs to be 3 months or 6 months worth of that money in case anything happens. If you lose your job, if you're not able to get any money in, that's going to be your sinking fund. That's going to be your lifesaver in those times. But for people who have families and kids, I would actually advise to take it up a bit, because if you have kids who go to school, and if kids get sick, it's just another commitment. And aiming for 12 months is really can be helpful. But if you are a newbie, just first aim for 3 to 6 months. But as you get into the groove, maybe you can also take it up a notch and aim to have a 12 months worth of emergency fund. All right, so now you have your goal. What's next? Step number 2. Now you actually have to start, and you have to start small. I'm sure if you're watching this video, almost everybody has a bank account. I believe that anybody in my audience has a bank account. And you might have a bank account, a savings account for your financial goals. Saving for an emergency fund is very different from saving to buy a car or to buy a plot of land. Saving for investment is different. It has to have its own dedicated bank account. At least that's what has been helpful for me and for the people that I've talked to who are really good at these things. So if you don't have a dedicated account or a savings account that you don't use, go to your bank, ask them to do a sub account for you where you're going to be transferring this money. And then you have to set aside, first see on non-essential things that you usually spend money on, cut from that. And is it 10,000 for you? Is it 100,000 for you? Rwandan francs, huh? That's how my mind thinks in Rwandan francs. So just decide on a figure that is feasible, because sometimes you're like, oh, I'm going to save 500,000, but it's unrealistic. You're going probably to do it for a month or two, and then afterwards it's going to be really hard, and you're going to feel bad and sorry for yourself, and you're going to stop it. So it's really important to first know which amount you are able to afford. And you might say, oh, but Denyse, I always, my salary is still, or my income is small as it is. But I am sure, personally, and from the people I've talked about, if you look at your budget and your expenses, there is almost certainly always a way you can cut costs. Those costs of non-essential things that you usually spend money on, that's where you have to look at. And start small, sending that money on that new account that you have created that's solely dedicated to your emergency fund. So step number 3. So you've done step number 2 over and over. You've been transferring your money to this savings account. You've not been using it, but then boom, something arises, like the actual emergency arises. You lose your job, your car breaks down, your kids get sick, and you need to, maybe take 3 months off work to take care of them. Then what do? You actually have to let your emergency fund save you. But it is very interesting because if you have not been if you don't have the habit of emergency fund and savings, everything will seem like an emergency. Like if somebody calls you, say, oh, we are going to Kibuye by the beach, and they're good friends of yours, you're like, oh, I haven't planned for this. Maybe this is an emergency. I should, take money from, my emergency and go with my friends to Kibuye and have a good time. So it's really important from the get-go to understand what consists an emergency for you. Because if you have a family, is it when a close family member gets sick? Is it if you lose your job? Is it if you something in your house gets damaged? You need to set out a few things. It's really important to be flexible with this list, but also be a bit rigid. Because everything can seem like an emergency. And if you your radio is not working in your car, you might be like, it's an emergency. I love music, I get it. but it's important for you to realize that this money needs to save you when you hit a low point. If the radio in your car is not working, is that really an emergency? Debatable. I'm talking to myself as well, because my radio is not working, and it's been, in my mind, I'm like, I should do something about it, but I haven't planned it. So yeah, that's something I need to put into consideration. So this step, number 3, on how to use your emergency fund, really relies on making sure that you are clear on what an emergency consists. So step number 4 is replenish your emergency fund. After you've used it, let's say I keep using this example of losing job. I hope it's not a bad omen. But if you, for example, lose your job, and miraculously, luckily you get another job, or you get another ichiraka, you get another gig, it's important to make sure that the money that you've used from your emergency fund goes back to your account. So you have to go back to step number 2 to really cut costs and make sure that you are replenishing it. And the thing is, it's going to keep happening. You might get another emergency before you hit your mark of total, what you use as your total. As let's say if your emergency fund is 3 million rand and francs, and you use 2 million, you only have 1 million, and as you are in the process of replenishing it, something else might arise. But it's important for you to understand that I haven't yet hit what's supposed to be my total emergency fund. So if you use it, in the back of your mind, you need to have that thought that I need to keep replenishing it to make sure that at some point I get, I can breathe. If you hit your 3 million mark, you can just breathe and start spending money elsewhere. You invest your money and you do all the good stuff that money is supposed to do for you. But remember, I'm very conscious that people have different financial circumstances, so please be flexible, add some flexibility to this, and let your emergency fund save you in times of financial low points. So if this video has been helpful and you've sort of felt like you got value from it, let me know down below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel if you are new. If you are not new, it's family. Keep the ideas coming. Let me know what you want me to talk about in the next videos. I'll be happy to, even if I don't know, I'll be happy to research about it. I love creating this content for you guys. This is Nice Life 101. I'm here for you. You are willing.